Welcome to the Horse Conversation podcast. In this podcast, we're going to have conversations about our relationship with horses and how we can form a kind understanding to be the change in the equestrian world. My name is Carolina and I am your host and the creator behind Horse Conversations. I have broad hands-on experiences from all around Europe and I'm also studied in psychology and equine behavior. But this project really comes from the heart and I hope that you enjoy these conversations at least as much as I do. Welcome back to this brand new episode of the Horse Conversation podcast. It has been a while since I made a podcast, and that's probably due to my personal situation. If you have followed me, you maybe know something about it. But I'm still here, I'm still working with horses, and I'm still trying to do my best to educate and bring information to you. So, in this episode, I want to talk about a balanced training plan makes a balanced horse. And that's because I'm working with Soleado at the moment to make him a balanced riding horse. So last year we worked a lot on groundwork and bringing up his health and stamina and strength. And now I'm working a little bit more on making him a riding horse. So making him strong enough to carry a rider and having fun going outside and into the arena. And with this comes, of course, a training plan. So I have a training plan for Sol, and this training plan consists of different elements that are very important to make a balanced horse. Because we want a balanced horse, a horse that is physically and mentally balanced, to be willing and motivated to work with it, and also to have the strength and stamina. Balanced not only means that the horse can carry itself and that he is straight and forward and can canter or trot collected, but it also means that the horse is mentally balanced, that he's not spooky for little things, that he's motivated and that he trusts the human to go outside and wants to learn new exercises and trusts the human to guard his limits when we teach new difficult tasks, for example. The word balanced also means variety for me. So it's important to have a variety of tasks, of exercises, of influences and triggers so we create a balanced horse. The body and the mind is so complex that it's not enough if we just go for one discipline, if we just go for one exercise and do this on and on and on, because we will ignore all the rest of the body. There are so many muscles, so many ligaments that needs to be engaged with. So we have to have a variety of exercises for a whole training plan. And one thing where this is coming from is also about disciplines. In the horse world, we often talk about disciplines and we categorize ourselves into one of these disciplines. I'm a dressage rider, I'm a show jumper, I'm a Western rider, and so on. And that's fair enough. That's cool. You can have this passion for one discipline and be really good in it. But I think for the horse, which is, a horse, not a human, so they don't have these categories of disciplines, it's important that they can use their whole body and use their whole mind to have this experience of a balanced and willing togetherness with us. So if we can offer them just more than one discipline, I think it will help them to get in this balanced state. And these thoughts also came to me a few weeks ago when my daughter made a comment. So my daughter is 10 years old and she's just really honest, as kids are. And she was with me at the stables when we prepared to go for a little hike with some friends from the stable. So we were in the arena warming up the horses, and she made a comment about me and saying, "Hey, Mom, you don't look like a dressage rider. You look a little bit weird between all these dressage riders," because It's common in the Netherlands to have, a dressage saddle and the gear that looks dressage and having dressage pants and riding pants and stuff like this. And I don't have that. I have a treeless saddle, which kind of looks like endurance Western style saddle. I wear normal English breeches with English riding shoes, and I have a cavesson as a bridle. So there are at least 3 disciplines inside my gear when I gear up Soleado. So I guess it must look a little bit weird compared to all these beautiful sets you see most of the time. But I don't care about this. This is not something I care about because the saddle fits and it's good for him because yeah, his back is developing and I don't want to put a tree on it. And the cavesson is something that helps both of us at the moment, but I'm going to switch to something else in a while. And yeah, the breeches, I don't care what I wear. I'm just wearing stuff that doesn't break. Um, yeah, but that's how I train too. Soleado does know how to do in-hand work. He also does know how to do classic horsemanship. Yeah, we're trying to go for a little bit of collection at the moment to get this balance into his body. But I also do a lot of clicker training and positive reinforcement, and you're just doing my crazy stuff with my objects and just having fun. So I'm not subscribed to any discipline, and I will never be. But I don't think that's important. You can have that and still create a balanced horse. But yeah, to give you an insight about a balanced training plan and what I do with Soleado, I wrote down some elements that I want to discuss with you now. So for me, in my opinion, a balanced training plan includes first and foremost, cooperative care. It's the most important thing that you can care for your horse before anything else. So no riding, no clicker training, or in this sense, no target or trick training, but cooperative care. So the horse is willing and relaxed to receive care. Whether it's for the skin, if you have to apply some solutions, for the mane and forelock, a lot of horses don't like to be touched on the forelock. Giving hoofs, letting the hoofs trim by yourself or farrier, cleaning the eyes, and checking for teeth and also the genitals. It's very important that the horse can be relaxed when you do this. So it's not a struggle, it's not a fight. He's just can stand still and let this happen to him with more or less a positive mindset. So this is really important, and this is included in my training plan. I do this at least once a week, probably more, because Soleado also had some fears regarding this. So we really put a lot of effort into this. For me, this is done with Air Plus, so I do positive reinforcement with this a lot. I click for such things to make it a more positive and non-forcing setting. The second element is motivational task. So I think it's after the caring task is the most important thing is to have a motivated horse. So whatever you're going to do, if your horse is not motivated, it's going to be a struggle, and it's going to be eventually a fight, and you both get frustrated and you skip the whole plan. So keep an eye on your horse's motivation. Like if you're doing just physical, exhausting and difficult tasks 5 times a week, or things that cause fear, that triggers the horse, that will drain your motivation and relationship bucket. That doesn't mean we can't ask difficult or scary stuff, but it means we need to fill this bucket with fun, trust, and positivity first, so we can take things out of it. So motivational task for me and for most horses is clicker training and trick training, and especially target training. I haven't met a horse yet that doesn't love target training. That's just so easy to understand, and it brings so much joy to the horses if done right, without frustration, of course. So add clicker training to your plan at least once a week, but better would be 2 to 3 times a week. That also depends on the horse. Some horses are more motivated, some horses need a little bit more effort to bring motivation back, depending on their history. After that, the third important ingredient is relaxation moments. So, not every day is training day. Give yourself and your horse time off. You can just skip coming to the stables for a day or two, but you can also come to the stables and spend relaxation time with your horse. And this also adds to the relationship and trust bucket. So you can just be together, you can watch your horse graze or feed on hay, and you can also do things that your horse enjoys, like brushing if he enjoys it. Not all horses enjoy it. You can do some light body work like Tellington Touch or from the Masterson method or a little bit of massage. And don't be afraid to get into this, to try it. There's not much you can do wrong, and it's really no rocket science to get this. You can also use things like balance pads or just be in a more meditative state with your horse together. And after that, the last ingredient is, of course, building strength and stamina. So this is really important if we want to go and want to ride our horses. Your horse is an athlete, and athletes need training outside of performing. So as I see it, riding is a performing, and what comes first is building up to it. A young horse or an adult horse, maybe depends on his history, doesn't automatically know how to find balance, how to walk balanced in a sand arena, for example, or have all three gaits balanced. So finding the balance takes time, a lot of repetition, and, in my opinion, a variety in exercises. Working with poles on the ground is a great way to train certain muscle groups, and it's adding also some direction and focus to the rather boring sandbox. So if you view it from the horse perspective, the arena is just a plain sandbox with no direction, with no focus point in it. So I like to add poles or cones to make it a little bit more interesting and to give some sense of direction and goal into this. I also use other objects, and I also combine this with a little bit of these, yeah, as most people call it, despooking training. But I don't want my horse to spook, so you can use like plastic tarps or anything to get your horse used to it. And I mostly use it for them use their smelling, because this activates a part in the brain that is often very underestimated for the horses, and I want them to have that experience, which is very natural and very important to them as well. Lunging can be very helpful too, but this has always a side note, because lunging is something you really have to learn, and it needs to be an active process, engaging with the horse and not the passive running around around you. There are a lot of horses that do this in the pattern, so as soon as you pick up um, the lunging line and the whip, they go into this mood, into this mode of just running circles, because they're so, um, yeah, they're so conditioned into it. And I want the lunging to be something that has to do with communication and body language, so something active we both do together. If you want to start with it, I recommend to go for free lunging first, because there's when you learn how to communicate with your horse, and where your horse can learn to let go of these patterns and come back to actively engaging with you. If you want to build stamina, I recommend going for walks. That's just something really great you both can do. It's also good for the mental state of the horse to go somewhere new and to have the experience the outside world, um, and to make these kilometers. Of course, there's a limit to how many kilometers you can do, depending on your body as well. Um, but I would say if your horse can walk like 6 kilometers without getting tired, and he is trained to be ridden, you can of course do the walks ridden as well and make some more kilometers. I recommend using a tracking app with GPS, so you keep track on how many kilometers you make, and you can then increase it slightly and increase the stamina of your horse. And I also recommend, of course, to make a plan where you have the day off after a day of physical training, to let the body recover. That's very important. We cannot go and train physicals and exercises 7 days a week. That's just not healthy. It's not healthy for us, and it's not healthy for them. And as I said in the beginning, I recommend to be open-minded and try out new things. You can learn dressage, you can learn in-hand work or long reining. It's really no rocket science. Everybody can learn this, and you don't have to subscribe for it for a lifetime. So it's just a fun excursion. You can also do a little horsemanship or even jumping the other week, and then you go for 1 week, try out Western disciplines, or even if you're in the Western type of riding, try out the classical art of riding maybe once a week or once a month or just one clinic in a year. So every change is welcomed for you and your horse for its mental and physical balance. If we always train like one-sided or the same things, our horses will reflect that and they become less flexible to other things. I think that's a shame, and for all the great stuff you can teach, there are so many cool things out there. And being versatile certainly helps to keep your horses healthy and happy. And lastly, keep in mind that not every week can or must be productive. You can skip a whole week if you don't feel good, and even more important, if your horse doesn't feel good. So there can be very subtle signs, but the main red flag is, of course, if you get frustrated because your horse doesn't want to do something, or he seems lazy the 1 week, he's slow or uncooperative, skip the plan. Don't look at the plan. The plan is not that important. Important is your horse's health and happiness. So take a break from the plan and check your horse's body and condition. Look for any pain signs. And if it's concerning, ask a professional to come out. You have to fill that relationship and motivation bucket first. So if you skip the plan, if you take a break because something happened, there has been maybe something going on with the hoofs, or you have found um, ulcers in your horse, or whatever, if you skip the plan and you want to start again, start with your relationship and motivation bucket first. Go for the caring, the motivation, and the relaxation task first. The stamina and the strength can wait. You can always do that again. You can always pick up this plan again. The plan can wait. Your horse's health cannot. So that's about the balanced training plan, and I also prepared a PDF to download. I will put it all up in my Patreon, of course, for my patrons to have. And I maybe will be adding the PDFs on my website. If you're really, really interested in it, give me a sign and I will set something up. And I hope you found this episode informational and you're eager and motivated to get going. I'll be happy to hear anything about it. If you want to give me feedback or ask questions, I'm here. You can find me on my socials, on my website. And I hope to see you in the next episode.